Over 2,000 years ago, long before billionaires were launching rockets into space or funding political campaigns, a Greek philosopher named Plato was already deeply worried about the super-rich. He saw how vast wealth could not just corrupt individuals but tear apart an entire society. He warned us, laid out the dangers, and even proposed a radical solution. So why did we ignore him? Let's travel back to ancient Athens. Plato lived in a world of stark contrasts. There was incredible wealth, but also deep poverty. He observed that society was splitting into two cities, a city of the rich and a city of the poor, constantly plotting against each other. For Plato, this wasn't just an economic problem, it was a spiritual one. He believed the ultimate goal of life was to nurture a just and virtuous soul. But the relentless pursuit of wealth, he argued, was like a disease for the soul. Plato saw money as a powerful, distorting force. In his masterpiece, The Republic, he explains that our souls have three parts: the rational part that seeks truth, the spirited part that seeks honor, and the appetitive part that craves things like food, drink, and money. A healthy soul keeps these parts in balance, with reason in charge. But when the love of money takes over, that appetitive part grows monstrous. It hijacks your entire being. Truth and honor take a back seat to profit. Your desires become insatiable. The more you have, the more you want. This, for Plato, was the definition of a corrupted soul, a life spent chasing shadows, never finding true fulfillment. This individual corruption then spills out into the state. Plato watched as his own city, Athens, a proud democracy, began to change. He described a predictable and tragic cycle of political decay. A healthy democracy, he believed, values freedom and equality. But over time, the relentless pursuit of money creates a new ruling class. This is the birth of an oligarch rule by the wealthy. In an oligarchy, the primary qualification for holding power isn't wisdom or virtue or public service. It's your bank account. Once money becomes the ticket to power, the whole system rots from the inside. Plato was brutally clear about this. He said that just as you wouldn't choose a ship's captain based on how much property he owns, you shouldn't choose a state's leader based on their wealth. An oligarchic ruler isn't concerned with the common good. They're concerned with protecting and increasing their own fortune. Laws are passed not to benefit the many, but to enrich the few. The state becomes a tool for personal gain. Justice is for sale. The rich can literally get away with anything, while the poor are crushed under the weight of a system designed to keep them down. Sound familiar? This isn't a headline from last week. It's Plato's diagnosis from 380 BC. He saw how money in politics poisons everything, turning citizens against each other and hollowing out the very idea of a shared society. So, what was his solution? It was simple, and it was radical. In his ideal state, the ruling class, the philosopher kings, and the guardians would be forbidden from owning private wealth. No gold, no silver, no fancy houses, no private property beyond the bare necessities. They would live communally, eat together, and receive a salary from the state just enough to cover their needs. Why? To remove temptation. Plato believed that if you want leaders who are truly dedicated to justice and the public good, you must completely separate political power from economic wealth. If rulers have no personal fortune to protect or expand, their only motive will be to serve the state. This wasn't about punishing the rich. It was about protecting the state from the corrupting influence of wealth. He wanted to ensure that power was wielded by the wise, not the wealthy. So if Plato laid out this brilliant and prescient warning, why on earth did we ignore it? Well, for one, his solution is incredibly extreme. The idea of completely banning leaders from owning property goes against some of our most deeply held values about individual liberty and the right to own things. It feels utopian, impractical, even authoritarian. Furthermore, the centuries that followed Plato saw the rise of economic systems that celebrated wealth accumulation. From Roman expansion to the birth of capitalism, the pursuit of profit wasn't seen as a corruption of the soul, but as a driver of progress and innovation. The oligarch Plato warned about became the entrepreneur or the captain of industry we were told to admire. We built an entire global system on the very appetites Plato told us to control. We effectively chose to believe that the pursuit of private wealth would, through some invisible hand, lead to public good, the exact opposite of Plato's conclusion. And that brings us to today. Plato's warnings have never been more relevant. We live in a world of unprecedented wealth inequality. We see daily how massive fortunes are used to influence elections, write laws, and shape public opinion. We watch as the gap between the ultra-rich and everyone else widens, and with it, social trust erodes. We are living in the world Plato feared, a society fractured into a city of the rich and a city of the poor. He wouldn't be surprised by our political polarization or our sense of systemic injustice. He would see it as the inevitable outcome of letting wealth capture the state. Plato's challenge to us is timeless. Can a society truly be just if it is ruled by money? Can we find a way to insulate our political systems from the distorting power of wealth without sacrificing our freedoms? We may not be ready to adopt his radical solution of banning all private property for our leaders, but we can't afford to keep ignoring his diagnosis. His ancient wisdom serves as a powerful mirror, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truth about our own society and ask ourselves, are we serving justice, or are we just serving the rich? The answer will define our future. Thanks for watching. If this got you thinking, please like, share, and subscribe for more dives into the ideas that shaped our world. See you next time.